in your life, you will either decide to believe God, believe Him. What He says, you will believe. And by believing, you obey, because that is belief. You will either do that, or you will make decisions that you know better than God. And if you think that you know better than God, you will do what you feel like is a good idea. That is unbelief. Once you lose faith, you will be disobedient. Once you become disobedient, you will not have His favor. Here's what I'm going to do. Do I trust these men? Do I believe them? I want you to promise something to me. I want to promise you will catch me. Will you promise you will catch me? Will you promise you will catch me? Okay. The question is, do I believe them? Now, I can tell you all that I want. I believe them. Yes. They look strong. I believe them. And I can stand here all day and I can talk to you about that I believe them. How am I going to prove that I believe them? I believe you. I believe you. If you believe them, then you fall. That is the choice you must make. Do you believe God?
To the degree that we choose to follow Him, we experience the life He came to give. So if I say to this man, follow me, and I am Christ, John 10:10 says, in me is life. The fullness of life in me, with me, abiding in me is life. And this man is following me. What is he experiencing? Life. Now, what happens if he stops following me? What happens? The very life that emanates from me is not being transferred to him. So it's to the degree that you follow him that you experience life. To the degree you do not follow him, you do not experience life. In following him, the likeness of Christ wears off on us. His own character. We've talked about that. His own character becomes our character. He is shaping, transforming our being. But before he can equip you, utilize you, deploy you as an efficient or effective fisher of men, you first have to follow him. You have to learn from him. A disciple was a student, learner, practitioner, an apprentice. You have to join yourself to him. In the order of things, what comes first? To be with him. To be with him. You see, he doesn't send them immediately out to preach. I've said this many times. Until you have been with him, please don't go out and preach. Until you've been with him, until you know him, until you're in relationship, until you've become a follower. Because it's only that equips us to represent him and his kingdom. It's the being with him. But how can you make someone something you're not? Sir, are you a baker? You are not a baker. Could you teach me how to bake a cake? Not at all. Well, I'm going to have to find someone else. This man can't help me. He cannot make me something he's not. You cannot make a disciple if you are not one.
Every calling has a location. When you leave the location, the calling will not be effective. Some of you, either through marriage or through job, allows those circumstances to take you away from your place of location. That's why even before you accept a job, seek God. God's desire is what? To make all of us what? people of influence in every sphere of the society. That is his desire. And when you study from Abraham all the way to today, that's still what he's trying to do. That every man, every family, every clan, every state, every nation be brought to that level of discipleship. There are so many Christians that are born again, but they are what? Undisciplined. And God cannot use you unless you have been disciplined.
The truth is, after believing, you have to start walking in humility. You see, we believe in Jesus to be saved as our Savior. But then after salvation, we have to follow his examples and his teachings. Discipleship now is not just believing in Jesus. It is using Jesus as a model and standard, following in his footsteps and obeying his teachings. What changes society and transforms culture is when we get people there to start obeying the teachings of Christ. What will happen to crime? It will go down. When they start obeying what Jesus taught about murder and the value of human life, not just salvation and going to heaven. What will happen to promiscuity and immorality? It will go down. What will happen to corruption in governance when we start teaching what he taught about servant leadership? Good governance will come. More than half of people in this nation profess to be Christians, and the society looks like hell. What is the problem with what we have been preaching? We need to wake up. So we have to pray, we have to fast, but that alone will not do it until we bring back the message that transforms. God bless you.